How's it? I'm Christo. I'm a curriculum writer, uh, father, a diamond theorist, husband. Yes, and this is Diamond Cornerstone. Welcome. You are the diamond, and you can set your cornerstone. YouTube drill, like, subscribe, share, and let's play. All right, so we've changed the definition of education. All right, it's about relationship between educator and educand, parent, child, teacher, learner, facilitator, learner. But it's also about the role reversal, because you can learn and be receptive as well. And that creates evolution through the social aspect. Okay, so now the question is, what is the fulcrum? So I generally go back to Fifth Discipline by Peter Senge. The first chapter is give me a lever long enough and single-handed I can move the world. So basically that's an old quote. I think it's from Archimedes or one of those really hardcore old school guys. Doesn't say, but what he's saying is that if that is the lever, if it's long enough, you can lift almost anything. Now this is, you won't believe this, everything in life has purpose. So I've never understood why, but I left school and I went to varsity, and I'd signed up or registered to study music. And then I spoke to my uncle like the day before class started. He said, okay, you've got the marks, go do engineering. Now personally, okay, so I duffed it up completely. Okay, but the thing is, I had to go and see what that was. But yeah, and afterwards everyone looked at me and said, why did you change course? You're not an engineer. Your whole personality is more out there, blah, blah, blah. And yeah. Okay, but so maybe I was socially not mature enough yet, but the bottom line is you got to take something from it. So there was this one subject called statics. Now statics is all about forces and weights and movement. Okay, so this is like February 1996. Let's see if I remember it correctly. You put a force here and it lifts a weight there. And the pivot point here on my finger, the pivot point, that happens on a fulcrum. And as you push, and I can work the maths and all sorts of stuff between the weight and the mass of the let's say the stone here, and my fingers giving a force down. The big thing is, where's the pivot point? And as you work out all this, you get what is called a moment. A moment. I actually thought it was very funny, actually, being me, and 18 and a little bit stupid. I thought this was the best word I ever heard. As the turn happens, that's the moment. In sport we see it, there's only that moment where the team changes. And the underdog gets his tail up, and now you know you've got a game on. When you're reading a book, it's only there's that that wow moment. Now you get that in education as well, and it is up to the facilitator to know where that moment's going to happen. The conductor in an orchestra, everybody tunes, then there's that moment when the baton comes down, and it's probably the most joyful thing is when that moment happens. It is exquisite. The question is, what is the fulcrum? Now, I heard a guy say, the only way we're going to change the world or get out of this slump or this madness that we're in at the moment between COVID and the recession and war and social issues, and that's everything from sex to drugs to rock and roll, okay, and it's scary stuff, is we've got to move the fulcrum. Okay, and I'm the guy who says the top of the diamond is the fulcrum. Because that's where the pivot happens. It's what are you serving? Now, as educators, we have this phenomenal position in society where we can transfer a faith, a hope, a love, a grace, a gratitude to the next generation. Because, yeah, I think ours has kind of stuffed it up because we've been inside this indoctrination for so long. But we're the generation that can start moving it to our children and tell them, hey, there is a different way to do this. Now, the fulcrum at the moment, okay, if you look at like pre-2020 society, it's the chemical industrial complex. Okay, everything's happening out of that. Our medicines, our pesticides, our herbicides, our paint, our lacquer, our wood gets treated with chemicals. The chemical industry is, so to say, the foundation of our modern society. It is in everything, in our food, our water, our air. And yeah, we're actually living the consequence of all this pollution. People always talk about germ theory versus terrain theory, but there's no verses here because it's actually just two theories. And the one is we're on a globe. I actually watched the David Attenborough yesterday, My Life on Earth. And he says in 1969 or 68, 69, when the Apollo program was 68, when they got those first shots of Earth from space. And it's when you realize this is a closed system. It's what we've done in this closed system. We've brought carbon out. It might have had to stay there into the atmosphere. And with that carbon, and we've changed the balance of our terrain, of our fishbowl. Now, in a fishbowl, if you don't change the water often and keep it clean, your fish are going to get sick. And I think that's maybe what we've done here with all our pollution and our consumerism. But as educators, we can actually start moving the fulcrum back to something a little bit more human, less chemical. It's not going to happen overnight, and it's not going to be let's say, anti-pesticides, because then you're going organic, which is still an anti-movement. It must be grace-orientated. Okay, we've made mistakes, now we move on. It's like stuff like, I'm doing quite a bit of reading at the moment about permaculture. And it's basically looking after soil health again, because if you've got healthy soil, you'll have healthy plants. And healthy plants make healthy consumers. It's just a cascade, so to say. If the one is healthy, the next will be healthy. If you have dead soil, you'll have dead plants, and therefore you'll have dead fruit, and therefore the consumer will be dead. You can't have I read another quote. It was of a minutes of a meeting. It was weird. I didn't actually expect it, but how can you expect to be healthy if you eat poison? And technically speaking, we're putting enough poison on we're putting chemicals or poisons on our food. But yeah, okay, so as educators, homeschool parents, as staff members in a school, if we bring the becoming back, the love, the joy, the peace, the patience, the kindness, the goodness, we'll set that example for our kids. We'll show our character ethic, and through a good character ethic, you can actually reach achievement, and everybody feels good if they achieve. So it's all about just moving the fulcrum from let's say the pre-2020 fulcrum to a post-2020 fulcrum. And yeah, moving the fulcrum isn't going to be easy because you just have to stop. You just got to be more conscious of, what am I buying here? What am I doing with the packaging? How much chemicals am I taking? How much chemicals am I feeding my children? Because if you change diet, your family will follow suit. It happens naturally. If there is no Coke in the fridge, no one's going to drink Coke. If there's no sugar in the house, no one's going to put sugar in their coffee. If you've got stone ground flour in the house, guess what? You're going to bake pancakes with stone ground flour. Now, flour is actually a funny story. I'll just quickly give the background story here. Actually, I like bread a lot, and I like making pizza. So I went and just did a little bit of reading, and what I found was when those mills run, the mills can run up to 400 degrees Celsius, which kills everything inside your flour. All your vitamins, all your minerals, all your trace elements. It basically just makes it newt. But then it says, and fortified with 9 vitamins and minerals. Now the thing is, when wheat comes off the field, it's got 30 vitamins and minerals. Now through the processing, it drops to 0, so they fortify it with 9. So it's like, I've got $30, and then I buy something and I get $9 monopoly money back. Your body actually is of nature. It doesn't really know how to work with chemicals. It doesn't know. So just be conscious of, what am I buying here? Here's another whole story with the wheat as well, with regard to herbicides and pesticides and glyphosates and GMOs, but I'm not going to get into that today. The thing is, you've got to be conscious of what is the fulcrum. Because the fulcrum is what you'll be serving. You're either serving a society that's going forward into our future, and it's tough right now, but we've got to keep the faith going, we've got to keep the hope, we've got to keep the love, because without those, what is humanity? Or we can regress and keep serving the creators or our mental model of how we thought pre-2020. Right now we've got a moment where we can reflect, learn lessons from ourselves and our own mistakes, and cut our character. I'm going to end this off. Easy times hard times create strong people. Strong people create easy times. Easy times create weak people. Weak people create hard times. Not the nicest, but maybe we've had it too easy, and now we've got to go and dig deep again and find the diamond in each of us. And we've got to bring that out and let it shine again. And as homeschoolers, home educators, students, facilitators, we have a responsibility to the next generation to find their diamonds and help them cut and help them shine. Move the fulcrum. And yeah, we can actually build a new earth post 2020. Be the diamond cornerstone. Many blessings for the day.